Now, I am pleased to see states standing up, governors, and saying we're not going to take these refugees from Syria and other parts of the Middle East. And some people have said they don't really have a leg to stand on because the federal government can do whatever the federal government wants to do. Isn't it fascinating? They don't mean the federal government. They mean Obama. Obama can trump the states. He can trump the federal government. Is that what they're saying? He can do whatever he wants. So we have a lawless man as president of the United States. He gets this patina of acting lawfully as part of the federal government, as the federal government, and then the states can't do anything. My suggestion to the states is you rally together and you bring a lawsuit. Not that you'll win it. I don't know if you'll win it or not. Just slow the whole damn thing down. That's what you do. That's what Obama does. Use his tactics against him, by God. Drag him into the courtroom. Drag him through the process, the meat grinder. Make it stick for a year or two. The man's out of office in less than 2 years. Drag it along and drag him along with it. That's what you do. Use some tactics against this man. And I'll tell you something else, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, I think the Republican establishment understands that there's something more important than running 17% of the government when there is a phony government shutdown. Something more important, including American national security. And by God, the Republicans who control the House and the Senate must ensure that there be no so-called refugees from the Middle East, because this incompetent administration is incapable of vetting anybody, let alone people from a country who we don't know and we can't possibly know. And I have made this point for months. For months. Nobody comes in here because we don't know who the hell they are. And the entire purpose of a government, the entire purpose, is to protect the people who reside within the sovereign borders of a nation. It's not up to foreigners to decide what we do in this country. And certainly, just by calling people refugees doesn't mean they are. We do not know. And that's enough. Let me ask you something. During World War II, and I asked you this the other week, did we increase the number of immigrants from Germany? Did we increase the number of immigrants from Italy? Did we increase the number of immigrants from Japan? No. You know what the Democrats did back then? They started rounding up people with those ethnicities. I'm not encouraging that, but I'm not encouraging floods of people either. Al-Qaeda's not on the run, Mr. President. Al-Qaeda became ISIS. You're on the run. No, not we, the people. We are better than this so-called commander-in-chief. Obama's on the run. Obama is on the run. He will not stand up to this enemy. And this will be his undoing, his legacy, among multiple other issues, but his legacy isn't the issue, is it? Here's Obama at a press conference in Turkey today. And first of all, look at Turkey. Look what Turkey's become. An Islamo-fascist state under Erdogan. So why the hell are they even meeting over there? Well, anyway, cut one, go.
In terms of refugees, it's clear that countries like Turkey, Lebanon, and Jordan, which are already bearing an extraordinary burden, cannot be expected to do so alone.
Stop. Cannot be expected to do what alone? Tell me, how many men did Turkey, Lebanon, and Jordan lose in the wars in Iraq? Can anybody tell me? Precious few. What is this? Redistribute refugees? This has nothing to do with what Turkey, Lebanon, and Jordan are doing. They'll do what they do, and we do what we do. Go ahead.
At the same time, all of our countries have to ensure our security. And as president, my first priority is the safety of the American people. And
no, it's not. No, it's not. That's not your first priority. Not in the least. That's not your first priority. You're gutting our military. You're attacking our local law enforcement, police departments. You are looking everywhere possible to usurp our immigration laws. Safety is not your number one priority. It never has been. Security is not your number one priority. You're not fooling us. We know you're a fraud. Go ahead.
As we accept more refugees, including Syrians, we do so only after subjecting them to rigorous screening and security checks.
Oh, this is the guy that couldn't set up a health care website. This is a guy who lied through his teeth about what your health care would look like, ladies and gentlemen. This is a guy who lies through his teeth now about our economy and how prosperous it is and how vigorous it is. This is a guy who spins and lies and twists. And we have this rigorous vetting process, he says. Really? Do we have a rigorous vetting process in sanctuary cities that he supports? Tell me, do we have a rigorous vetting process in all the criminals that they release from our prisons? Illegal alien criminals, murderers, rapists that they release. Is that a rigorous process, Mr. President? You sound so smooth. Oh, he's got everything under control. He's not only the most ideological leftist who's ever been president, he's the most incompetent who's ever been president. We've got a rigorous process, ladies and gentlemen. Really? Well, let me tell you something, Mr. President. 40% of the people here have overstayed their visas. Now, what's your rigorous process in dealing with them? Are you going to deport them? No. If he had his way, he'd give them the right to vote. So what rigorous process is he talking about? He undermines the rigorous immigration process that's in place, right? He defies federal law. He nullifies federal law. He sanctions sanctuary cities. So what rigorous process is he talking about? I just know more people are going to die because of this man. And his policies, which we can't even define. Go ahead.
We also have to remember that many of these refugees are the victims of terrorism themselves. That's what they're fleeing. Slamming the door in their faces would be a betrayal of our values.
Listen, it's not a betrayal of our values to ensure American safety. And this man is incapable of that. With the rise of the Islamo-Nazis, with Red China claiming the East and South China Seas for crying out loud, building phony islands there to put their ships and their men, with Putin conquering Crimea with his hacks, his rebels, quote unquote, in East Ukraine, having taken a chunk out of Georgia. For God's sakes, he's at Antarctica, claiming that too. And now he's made alliance with Iran. Iran, which funds Hezbollah and Hamas, and has declared death to America. Why in the hell would you be gutting the United States military in the face of this? And that's what he does. He talks more about the rights of illegal aliens, more about people in Syria, than he does the American citizen, whom, of course, has racism in their DNA. Even more than that, who's agreed to this? We have a dictatorship in this country? Has Congress agreed to this? And I would ask Paul Ryan, are you going to step up now, Mr. Speaker? Oh, I see. You sleep in a cot in your office and all the rest. I'm sorry to hear that. You're gonna step up now, Mr. Speaker? Are you going to support the most irresponsible, ideological, anti-American president in modern American, in history, as a matter of fact? What are you going to do about this, Paul Ryan? By the way, has anyone seen Mitch McConnell? Mr. Producer, has anyone seen this guy? Not that I like looking at Mitch McConnell, but where the hell is the man? Is he going to help organize an effort to make sure that the enemy doesn't slip in among refugees into this country? Where is the jerk? I mean, the man. Cut 2, go.
And when I hear folks say that, well, maybe we should just admit the Christians but not the Muslims.
Stop. That offend you? Now notice none of the Muslim countries offend this guy. Saudi Arabia, does Saudi Arabia let Christians practice their religion? Of course not. Christians being wiped out throughout the Middle East? Why aren't we having tens of thousands of Christians as refugees into this country? Huh? How come? Go ahead.
Suggesting that there would be a religious test for which person who's fleeing from a war-torn country...
Hey, dummy. Nobody said there should be a religious test. What they said is we should allow more Christians in this country. You want to know why, pal? Because they have nowhere else to go. All those little countries you mentioned in the Middle East, Jordan and Lebanon and so forth and so on, they're not taking Christians. Nobody's taking Christians. So why don't we say we are taking Christians? Well, we can't do that. We don't have religious tests in this country. Sure we do. Certainly we do. The government now attacks Christianity left and right on morality grounds, whether it's marriage, whether it's abortion. What's he talking about? We don't have religious tests in this country. We sure as hell do. Oh, they don't call them that. They call it civil liberties. I got that. Nobody's talking about religious tests. It's just that Christians from the Middle East haven't been known to commit acts of terrorism against the United States of America. The hell's wrong with this guy? Doesn't he have two eyes? Doesn't he see what's going on? Go ahead.
When some of those folks themselves...
That's enough. Yeah, okay. Folks. Are you tired of being lectured by this guy? Have we ever had, and I say this not out of glee, certainly, have we ever had a bigger buffoon as President of the United States? Write that up, Media Matters. Do you know how to spell buffoon over there? Criminal Front Group, a 501c3 political operation. Obama's not done. Cut 9, Mr. Producer. Go.
And so I can't afford to play some of the political games that others may.
So it's now they're political games, you see. People who say it's time to destroy this enemy, it's political games, you see. Obama is earnest. He's studious. He speaks the truth. So, you know, these Republicans running who want other things done, these are political games. Go ahead.
To keep the American people safe. And I think it's entirely appropriate in a democracy to have a serious debate about these issues.
Oh, well, thank you. You know, you're so cool and you're so kind. So we can keep talking about this? Ooh. We can keep talking? Oh, good. And how do we know? Because Obama deigns that we can keep talking about this. But we're playing political games, you see. He's not, of course. Releasing 5 Islamo-Nazis from Guantanamo Bay. Borders wide open so they can register more Democrats. Sanctuary cities where they're nullifying federal law. He has got his pen in his phone, pushing his agenda regardless of what the American people want or the political system does. No, he doesn't play politics because, ladies and gentlemen, he's God's gift. He's God's gift. Go ahead.
Folks want to pop off and have opinions about what they think they would do. Present a specific plan.
I did present a specific plan. It's the same specific plan that was used in Dresden. It was the same specific plan that was used throughout World War II. It's the specific plan that we used during the Civil War. You know what that specific plan is, ladies and gentlemen? You call your generals together and you say, how do we defeat this enemy? Not, how do we do this without offending? Not, how do we do this without this or that or that? No, generals, you draw up the specific plan. Tell me how to take care of these, you-know-whats in 60 days, and I want your plan. It's amazing. They want you and me to draw up a plan. You know what's interesting about that? If we had the greatest plan on the face of the earth, they wouldn't care, because one day we're going to learn, mark this down, that the generals drew up many plans that were rejected by this man. One day we will learn this. It'll be too late because he'll be gone. Go ahead.
If they think that somehow their advisors are better than the chairman of my Joint Chiefs of Staff and the folks who are actually on the ground, I want to meet them.
Oh, really? You want to meet them? Tell you what, let us sit in some of those meetings, pal. And let's hear what your generals are saying, because apparently some of the folks over there at the Pentagon, the folks, some of the folks over there at the Pentagon are telling the media, you're slow to act. It's difficult to get you really focused on this stuff. So let's talk to some of the folks. See, he puts these strawmen up there. He knows we can't talk to his generals. He knows we can't consult with his head of the Joint Chiefs. He knows all these things are not going to happen. Oh, somebody will put out a better plan. Said the same thing to Netanyahu. Netanyahu had a plan. They dismissed that when it came to the Islamo-Nazi regime in Tehran. Looks like France has a better plan than we do right now. Anybody has a better plan than we do. You want to know why? We don't have a plan. That's why. We've got a mess on our hands. So here the enemy attacks and slaughters almost 130 people in Paris. And what does Obama do? He goes on the national stage and he lectures us, we the people, about what's American, what's not American, about what we should do, what we shouldn't do, about the Republicans. I'm telling you, there's a screw loose, or multiple screw looses, or loose screws. You get the point. So now, you and I are the problem. And you and I aren't reacting the way he wants us to react. We're the problem. Not the enemy, not him. The guy has more passion when he's talking about the Washington Redskins than when he's talking about the enemy. Something's just not right there. It just ain't right.